Okay, 11:30 here in New York. Getting information now from Chad Pergram, others on the Hill. The public hearings schedule, at least the initial hearings, have now been announced. Chairman Adam Schiff announcing a moment ago next Wednesday, which is November 13th, and then Friday, November 15th, so a day in between. They'll skip the 14th, according to this. So Wednesday, the committee will hear from Ambassador William Taylor and Deputy Assistant Secretary George Kent. Taylor serves currently as the charge d'affaires for the U.S. State Department in Ukraine. Kent serves as Deputy Assistant Secretary in the European and Eurasian Bureau at the U.S. Department of State. All right, I'm reading this now. Friday, November 15th, the committee hears from the former Ambassador Marie Masha Yovanovitch. Until May of that last year, she was the U.S. ambassador in Ukraine. You might remember or recognize some of those names. Some of them will be very familiar to you very soon. I want to bring in Brett Baer, host of Special Report, for more on this. Brett, nice to see you. Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning, Bill.
Open hearings. I think we have an idea about how they will go based on the resolution from a week ago. So let's go ahead and update folks on what we will expect starting Wednesday.
Well, listen, the Democrats, this is the time. This is the time they have to make their case to the American public. They have had these closed-door hearings. They've released the transcript. They've tried to keep the oxygen in the room for this impeachment inquiry as it's going, even as they don't have some people showing up for depositions. But the public hearing is really where they will have, if you will, another chance to make their case to oust the President of the United States. And they're going to really laser focus, it seems, on the Ukraine question and try to pinpoint this quid pro quo and try to say why that should be an article of impeachment.
Yeah, I'm just calling by memory. I believe the way Schiff laid it out a week ago, 45 minutes at a time for the witnesses, and the minority party, the Republicans, can offer witnesses to appear, but Schiff does not necessarily have to take them on.
Right. They can suggest them, but they have to get approved by Adam Schiff and the majority of the committee. So essentially, they don't probably appear.
Here's what I'm trying to figure out. Based on these transcripts, and we obviously have not been in this secret location listening to the interviews, are these their strongest witnesses? I guess we'll find out together. But there's a few others, like that lieutenant colonel who was born in Ukraine, who, if you listen to the back reporting on that, apparently makes a strong argument. Go ahead on that, Brett.
Well, I think they're going to try to put their best foot forward. They've had these depositions. They know what these people are going to say already, and they're trying to put the best public face on this effort. Listen, they had a bad go of it with the Mueller hearings, and the entire Russia investigation in the public part of it was a disaster when it came to the public perception, the presentation. So this is round two, and this is the impeachment inquiry that will kick off.
And so based on this statement, they're leaving a day in between. I guess maybe you could have spillover from Wednesday going to Thursday. I guess that's an option, but right now the 14th is an open date. Okay, so we'll get more information on that. Meanwhile, I know you've been following this thing between Joe Biden and Elizabeth Warren. I want to read you what he stated online. This is medium.com from November 5th. The other day, I was accused by one of my opponents of running in the wrong primary. These kinds of attacks are a serious problem. If someone doesn't agree with you, it's not just that you disagree. That person must be a coward or corrupt or a small thinker. It's condescending to the millions of Democrats who have a different view. So he apparently was referring to Liz Warren, who kicked this off at the end of the week last week, and this is what she said on this.
If anyone wants to defend keeping those high profits for insurance companies, then I think they're running in the wrong presidential primary.
Okay, so I can't necessarily say that the gloves are coming off, but maybe they're sliding off a finger or two as we work closer down the calendar.
Yeah, I mean, we're under 3 months to the Iowa caucuses. Biden knows he needs to make his stand here. He needs to be the alternative to Elizabeth Warren and not let anybody else take that lane, because there are a lot of Democrats who are concerned that the progressive side, the Elizabeth Warrens, the Bernie Sanders, will win out and thereby put them in a worse position heading into a general election. Biden's tapping into that with this fight on the health care, on a number of other fights, as well as saying to the state of the Commonwealth of Virginia, congratulations, because Virginia, guess what, in suburban areas in Virginia, lines up a lot like a Biden state or Commonwealth more than it does in Elizabeth Warren place.
All right, we'll see where that goes. He's doing a town hall on Monday on a competing network, as we say. I think it'd be very interesting to see how that goes when you have a considerable length of time to answer these questions. So we'll wait for that on Monday. Now, I want to get to two more things here. Kentucky right now, there's a press conference underway. The Democratic Attorney General, who appears to be on his way to victory, Matt Bevin, will not concede. Here's what he said late last night.
This is a close race. We are not conceding this race by any stretch. We want the process to be followed, and there is a process. We know for a fact that there have been more than a few irregularities.
So we'll see where this goes. Kentucky results are in. Virginia results are in. Virginia's all blue now. And Terry McAuliffe, the former governor, said this: we did it, we got them both. Hard work pays off. Virginia is all blue. Despite the Democratic governor, they're having a lot of issues, shall we say, over the past year that grabbed a lot of headlines. Can you summarize for us what you think we learned about last night in these states?
You know, I don't think it extrapolates, even though Democrats may want to take this moment and say this is going to point to the general election in 2020. Virginia was heading that way. It was purplish blue and kind of heading towards blue anyway, and Republicans were barely hanging on to one of the state houses there. Now that's no longer. It is significant. Virginia at one time was in play. I don't think it is in play really for Republicans that much anymore. As for Kentucky, Matt Bevin was one of the weakest gubernatorial candidates out there, and he was weak before the president came into that state. I will say the president's appearance and getting that big crowd may have made this closer, may have moved the needle a bit, but it looks like the Democrats are going to win that governorship.
Yeah. I want to squeeze in this, too, on the whistleblower. I know you had Rand Paul on last night. Very intriguing interview here. Let me just play a clip. He wants to out the whistleblower, says it's his legal right to do it if he chooses. Here's what he said to you.
The whistleblower statute should protect people.
Only the whistleblowers that you like?
No, they should protect him. I want Edward Snowden protected so he's not executed. I want him protected.
What about this guy?
I don't want him executed either. I don't think he should be fired.
I guess a question here whether or not someone's going for it.
Yeah, I think someone's going to say it. Someone's going to come out with the name. There's already been stories out, tweeted out and done. We're not 100% sure that that's the name. We'll continue to report it. But Rand Paul is adamant that he thinks that this person should not be anonymous if he's making these charges. There's a big pushback on Capitol Hill, including Dianne Feinstein just moments ago putting out a statement saying it's imperative that whistleblowers in general are afforded this right, especially in the intelligence agencies.
Yeah. Hearings next week, again next Wednesday, the kickoff here, and you'll see them live for as long as they last. Brett, thank you. See you at 6 o'clock today.
See you, buddy.